everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Meredith and today I have another video for you. This one's a little bit different. So as I promised in my last videos, I am going to be doing a comparison between the Causebox winter box and the Women's Collective winter box. The reason being is that I think a lot of people do like to compare the two of them. So I think that if I'm able to provide this information for you just to make your own decision about whether one box will fit your lifestyle more than the other one, I think that this will be great use of the fact that I spent my own money on both of these. So as a few disclaimers, obviously I paid for these all out of my own pocketbook. So I do have a link below for Causebox, and that will get you $10 off your first box. So this will just be a consumer review about both of them. Just so you know, I am a seasonal member for both of the boxes. I don't think it matters so much at this point for the Women's Collective box. It is a brand new box. But for Causebox, it does matter. So Causebox allows you to customize your boxes if you are an annual member, and you save money off of your box per box price. But however, for Causebox, it does matter because for Causebox, you do get to customize some items in your box, and then also you get a slight discount per box off of your per box price. So let me just go into it quickly here. So I think this is already going to be a very long video, and I'm sure that nobody wants to hear my squeaky voice for so long, so I'm going to try to go through it quickly. So I think that this video might be a little bit long, just because I have to show both of the boxes. However, I do have unboxings for both of them on my channel already. I'm sure I have lost a few subscribers and have a lot of dislikes for the Women's Collective box, because I was honest with my review there. Basically, it just doesn't fit my lifestyle, so I'm going to just let you know that. I hope I will be able to show you the facts without having any sort of bias in terms of my lifestyle and stuff like that when I review this box for you here. So let me just get started right away. So you can see here there is a little bit of a size variation in terms of the boxes. So also for your information, I thought this would be a nice one to kind of do a comparison between, because Causebox for seasonal is about $54, and then for Women's Collective it is also $54. For Causebox, however, you are able to ship to Canada and the US. And then you do also pay tax, but there is free shipping. However, for Women's Collective, there is no free shipping. So I personally paid $9.33 for my shipping from Michigan to Minnesota. So it's based out of Michigan. And when I made this purchase, I was living in Minnesota. So I think that the distance will also depend on how high your shipping cost is. So just so your frame of reference, Minnesota is only a couple of states away from Michigan. It was $9.33. Also, I was not charged for tax for the Women's Collective, but I think I probably should have. I think maybe their store wasn't set up properly in terms of taking out tax. So I'm sure that they'll probably figure that out in the future, but just so you know, I did not pay for tax. I did get a discount on both boxes, so that was because I had actually referred my friend to Causebox, so I got like a referral discount. So if you do use my link below, that is a personal referral link, but I basically get a small discount off of future boxes, and then you are also able to save money. And then for the Women's Collective box, I also got a discount because I bought it for Black Friday. So this was like, I think like 20% off or 25% off, I can't recall, it's been a while. In terms of shipping, both of them took about the same amount of time, if I'm being honest. They both came within like a day and a half of each other. So there was a long and drawn out customer service problem with my Women's Collective box. I will do another video about that if you're interested, but I have like all of my notes made in my notebook about how the process was handled and dates and timestamps, etc. For Causebox, they're very upfront about it, but basically Causebox is a little bit slower for shipping in general. So in terms of Causebox, they always have a very slow shipping process, but I also think it's compounded with the pandemic. They do take it very seriously and they protect their workers. So not only do they have a slow shipping process to begin with, they also have set up additional precautions for their workers. So I mean, the Women's Collective is shipped out of somebody's house, whereas Causebox is a larger company, so it's shipped out of a warehouse. So those are two things to keep in mind, I guess, in terms of that. Once the Women's Collective box was actually shipped, it only took 2 days to get to me, so I think I'm paying for the premium for shipping in terms of speed. But in terms of the process to get to the shipping process itself, it was quite a long and drawn out process. Let me just go through this now. In terms of the artwork, it's just a personal preference thing here, but I think that I can understand why people want to compare the two, because they seem very inspired with similar trends and maybe trying to hit the similar demographic. In terms of the packaging, the Women's Collective box actually came in this large box. So it had a large outside box with a ton of craft paper. So I went through it a little bit more in detail in my unboxing video. But if you're a person who's trying to cut down waste, this is probably not the box for you. So that was one of the things that I had an issue with. In terms of Causebox, I know a lot of people are upset that their boxes get a little bit damaged. But I've actually personally never had an issue when my box got damaged, but it is just shipped in the shipping box. So that's that about that. Let me just open them both. So Causebox this season does have a different style box. They usually had one that was like a pull tab one, but this time it is a little bit different. So both of them do have, this is going to be a very much of a struggle because these are both big boxes, but they both do have, okay, so after you open it, again, it's very similar. So it's wrapped in a piece of tissue paper with a sticker, and they're both like limited stickers, I guess, per season. And they usually, for Causebox at least, I don't know that much about Women's Collective because I've only had this one box, but for Causebox at least, they do have the same artist design the sticker as they do have designed the art print that's in here, that's also a postcard, and the box. So that's something that a lot of people like. So again, there are two other items in here that are very similar for both. So I think that a lot of subscription boxes like to do something like this, where there is like a paper product here. So for Causebox, it is a postcard slash art print, again, designed by the same artist as designs the box. And then there's also the brochure that gives you more information about the products, the companies, and like sustainability and stuff like that. And there's usually a couple of articles in here about how to use the product and stuff like that. I think for the fall box, there was information about how to make pancakes, I think, and like a cheese board. In terms of the Women's Collective, they also have a paper product. So this one is a vinyl sticker. So I have my issues about it, but again, go to my other video for more information about the sticker. And then for the brochure, this one is smaller and printed on cardstock and glossy paper, whereas the Causebox is on sustainable and recycled paper. In terms of the content of the booklets, kind of depends on what kind of person you are. So this particular booklet for Causebox, it has a little bit more information about the products, again, the sustainability, etc. Oh, I also forgot to mention that the Causebox is actually a certified B Corp. So if that's something you're interested in, they do have to fit those standards. There's no information about the Women's Collective box about whether or not they do fit any of those sort of ideals. In terms of the Women's Collective box brochure, it's not super informative, if I'm being honest. There's information about the companies, but there's no information about their business practices, how they make their products, or etc. It's basically just a bio of the founder. In terms of Causebox versus Women's Collective box, Causebox does do more, they like supporting companies that are sustainable, and they kind of empower women and stuff like that. And they do have quite a few small businesses as well. But this one is, again, a certified B Corp, whereas the Women's Collective box seems to only feature small women-owned business. So that's just based on what I've seen online. So I mean, they're kind of similar in that way, but also it depends on if you're more of a person who likes to have more sustainable and ethical business practices versus supporting small women-owned business. And then in terms of the magazine here, again, it was just basically a bio of the founder. So I guess if you want to learn more about the people who own the women-owned small business, this would be a more useful booklet for you. But for me personally, I want to know more about the products and the process. So actually, in terms of comparing the products, this particular season, both of them only had 6 products, so it'll be a nice one-to-one comparison. So I'll try to mentally figure out how I can compare the 2 products so that they're kind of similar sort of categories of products, if that makes sense. But there will be a little bit of an issue here, as you'll see. So again, there will be a correct one-to-one ratio, but in terms of comparing the products, it'll be a little bit of a stretch, if you'll see what I mean very shortly. So as a seasonal member, as I mentioned, for Causebox, I was not able to customize my box at all. So whenever I go through those spoiler videos that I like to put up here to give you the information, I'm actually using it to decide whether or not I'm going to skip the season's box based on the gamble that I have to make with myself, whether or not I'm going to get stuff that I'm going to use. So I guess something to keep in mind is when I'm comparing this is that Causebox has a lot more customers than Women's Collective Box. So they are able to negotiate prices and things like that and kind of leverage their member base to get higher brand and I guess higher value items from the brands in their boxes, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm not a business person, but I guess it makes sense to me that they're able to negotiate with their, like, let's just say 1 million subscribers versus Women's Collective Box who has like 250 subscribers. There's just like a different playing field there. So the first thing that I wanted to compare is, again, it was a little bit difficult as you'll see, but I think I made the best sort of solution here. The first one is the Thread and Supply Cozy Cloud Wrap. So this is just basically a polyester wrap and it's like chenille. It's like those slipper socks, has pockets, and this is the clothing item for this season. For the Women's Collective Box, this is the Empowered Women Empower the World tote bag, and this is by Polished Prints, and they're like a printmaking business. And so this one is, yeah, it's just like a tote bag. It'll be good, I guess, for going to my P.O. box. I only go once a week, so sometimes I have a lot of things to carry. So the next product that I wanted to compare is the Rejuvenating Body Polish, and this is from True Moringa, and this was in the Causebox. So this is basically an exfoliating body polish with coffee scrub, and it has also moringa oil in it and a little bit of peppermint scent, if I recall correctly. Yes, peppermint essential oil is in here as well. So there was not another similar product to this in the box, so I'm going to compare it with the Bisbee Candle. So this is Warm and Cozy, and this is in the scent Warm Vanilla Sugar and Chai. So I mean, I feel like they're a pretty relatively similar comparison here in terms of, I guess, self-care or relaxation products. So you can take that as you may. This has a very strong scent, where this has a slightly less strong scent. It is still very scented, but it's not like pow in your face. But again, these are just the two products that are in this particular season, so they probably won't be in next season. The next two items that I'm going to compare are the Attitude Bamboo Travel Pillowcase with the travel case here, and this was in my Causebox. So this is just like a very, very soft bamboo fiber pillowcase. It'll be nice to use. And then the product from the Women's Collective is the Lou and Elle pouch, and this is made from cotton, 100% cotton on the outside and in the lining here. So those are those two items. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to give any opinions about the items, so that'll be a little bit of a struggle, but I just wanted to show you this so you can make your own decision. Okay, the next two items here that I'm going to compare are both skincare items. So from the Causebox, they have the Skin & Co. Truffle Therapy Toner, and this is just like a skincare toner. And then from the Women's Collective Box, they have a set of Hibiscus Lip Mint and Agave Lip Balm and the Brown Sugar and Coconut Lip Scrub. So this is from Bacalia Botanicals. And then for your information, if you're trying to do the calculation of whether or not you'll get your money's worth, this is 200 mLs or 5.8 fluid ounces, whereas the lip balm and lip scrubs are each 0.7 ounces or 19 grams. So the next products here are actually both in packaging, so let me pull them out. This is from Causebox, and this is the reusable silicone baking mats, and this is a 2-pack, and it's from Activated Eco. And then this one is from Concrete Days, and it is a concrete planter. So as you can see, the baking mats are a set of 2, and then basically these can be used however you use aluminum foil or parchment paper, and they're kind of just like a sustainable and eco-friendly swap out for those single-use products. So this one is basically just because the color is similar, and they're also both sort of home sort of products. So this is the Concrete Days planter, and then this is they say it's in forest green, but this looks like a sage color to me. And the final items in the box, this one was like a little bit of a stretch, but both of these are, I guess, similar value. Actually, this one is less value retail-wise. This is the 2021 planner from Idlewild Co., and this is basically just a nice planner for 2021. So I just wanted to disclose that I did get this on like the very last day of January, so I already lost a whole entire month. But the last product in the Women's Collective box, is this 24 karat gold dipped X necklace, and it's made by Grace and Flux. So let me just show you the empty boxes now. So the Causebox is like basically completely empty. There's just one piece of tissue paper, and then also the one flyer that's basically like share your post on Instagram and you might be able to win a year of Causebox. Whereas the Women's Collective box has like, it's like 7/8 full with paper shavings here. And yeah, there's no information about a contest or anything like that. I mean, I get it, they're a small business, but there's just a ton of packaging in here. So in terms of my lifestyle, I think that the Causebox is much better of a fit, but again, it'll kind of depend on the season. So I'm not really having my hopes up for spring, just because I'm not really a spring person. So I've already skipped my FabFitFun, but I'm already kind of assuming that I'm going to be skipping my Causebox, just because I'm not super excited by spring items. I don't know why, but it's just not my thing. Whereas the Women's Collective box, I think it's more for people who are into like more accessories and home decor. So in terms of the season styling, I guess, in terms of the category of items in the boxes, I think Causebox was a little bit more on point for winter. There was like the planner, there was some baking sheets, and a lot more people use baking items in the winter just because, to be honest, I don't like using my oven in the summer because it's just so freaking hot. And then there was also that nice cozy wrap and then a planner. Whereas the Women's Collective box, in terms of the seasonal theming, I don't know if that's something that they try to do, but in terms of the items that were in there, they didn't really seem very wintry to me. Honestly, they seemed a little bit more spring-like, but maybe I'm just completely off base for that. But again, I don't know if they're trying to have it be a seasonal sort of theme. In terms of the box style, I do understand that people like to make the comparison just because they kind of use similar color schemes. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think in terms of Causebox, I think it's far more focused on sustainable practices or eco-friendly practices, and also like fair trade sort of products. And then on top of that, I think that they're also a little bit more on the lifestyle and like functional products. Whereas the Women's Collective, I think that they are staying true to their women-owned businesses, small business sort of theme, but the products are more of the decor and accessory side. I don't feel like the products are necessarily like very like useful. I'm going to use it in my everyday life, but I do think that they're like things that'll add to a little bit of decor in my bag or in my apartment, that sort of thing. But again, I'm just basing it on what was in this particular season's box. So again, in terms of price, Causebox has the shipping included, and it's like $55 roughly plus tax. And then for Women's Collective box, it is $55 roughly, but you do have to pay for shipping. So again, it'll be like $10. So $55 versus $65. And then in terms of tax, I think that they should be charging tax, but they didn't charge me tax personally. In terms of the shipping process, for me personally, based on this one experience, both of them were literally the same. So I made my purchase for Causebox, it was auto, but I think it was slightly after the Women's Collective. But Women's Collective, I made my purchase during Black Friday. So I think I got the Women's Collective box on the 27th of January, whereas I got the Causebox on the on the 30th of January. So it was like, it was a wash for me personally, but I do think I was the last person to get the Women's Collective box, to be honest. And then in terms of just like the overall customer service, so Causebox, again, they have far more customers, but you usually get like an auto reply, and then they do usually reply within like 48 to 72 hours, especially right now because it's during the main season. But if you do email them between seasons, you're able to get a reply pretty much right away. I've had a couple of issues with my Causebox in the past with some of the products being broken or something like that, and they were able to reach out to me and send me a new product without me even asking. In terms of Women's Collective box, I think I just wanted to have a clean break. I would technically reach out to them because the lip balms and lip scrub duo looked a little bit rough. Like they looked like somebody had touched it and it got tampered with. But honestly, I just want a clean break. I'm not going to reach out to them to ask them to replace an item that I'm probably not going to use myself anyway. And then in terms of customer service for Women's Collective, it is smaller. So at the beginning of my communication with them, I got like a reply within an hour. But as it got to be longer and longer through the waiting process, I think for one of the emails that I sent, I waited like 2.5 weeks before I reached out again, and then I got a reply, but it was like 48 hours after the first email. So I think that that was in that time between seasons. So I don't know what happened, but it was like customer service kind of left me a little bit about it, because I did have really high things to say about customer service at the beginning, but then as the process went on, it just kind of was not great for me personally. So again, let me know below which one you think that fits your lifestyle more. I do think that I know personally some people who would get a lot of joy out of the women's collective box, but I just don't think it fits my lifestyle or my like just personal style. But I do know people personally who would get a lot of joy out of those products. So I'm not knocking the box, it just looked at me, and I'm just reviewing it for me. And then for the Causebox, I do think it depends on the season. I already am kind of anticipating canceling or skipping the spring box. So let me know below what you think about this style video, and if you'd be interested in me doing it for other boxes in the future. I was kind of considering doing it for BoxyCharm versus Allure Beauty Box, so let me know if that's something you're interested in. Leave a comment below and let me know. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye.